The massive hype leading up to No Man's Sky launch has been almost like an ex-girlfriend, who unfortunately suffers from bipolar disorder and is indecisive on if she wants you to be dead or she wants you to have her baby. Some days people loved it, other days people would say some truly stupid things that crossed the line. So as you'd imagine, confliction is what would describe how people felt at that point. Not everyone, but a lot of people. Now, I'm not someone who has been following this game from day one. I'm not someone who saw it at E3 and had an orgasm in my pants like Kanye West looking through old selfies of himself. Truth is, I only recently got into this game due to some unfortunate patches in Uncharted, and I wanted a game that would hold me over until the Rise of Iron expansion in Destiny. Going into the game, I expected something refreshing, but something that wouldn't make me bored very quickly at the same time. Being able to discover new things like clockwork gives it that back and forth appeal. The very first mission in the game, you're led to believe you can mine for materials at will. Unfortunately for me, I was quickly attacked by one of the sentinels on the planet I landed on, and I had to constantly be looking to see if they were around me just to mine. That, along with the fact that the game doesn't do a really good job of telling you where the materials are, and I spent a good 30 minutes searching for just one material I needed, it became very tedious and almost mind-numbing. Insult to injury is that the Sentinels and pretty much every life form in this game has a lot of help. No Man's Sky, while in theory it's a genius concept, it essentially turns into a grind fest from the very beginning. That for me seemed like a never-ending goal. Yes, my goal is to reach the center of the universe, but I didn't even make it out of the first galaxy before I stopped playing. I explored 4, maybe 5 planets, and in all honesty, I spent more time flying to these planets than I did actually exploring them. Because upon arriving on each planet, it was always the same, radiation or plain barren rock formations with colors that just made me feel depressed. It always felt just like the previous planet, and while they did have life, I still felt like it was just me in this vast universe with no end in sight. I only reached 5 planets and they were all next to each other, so essentially I didn't progress any in the game except to name a few planets. And after playing for 2 hours and having that realization, it set in that if this is all this game has to offer, I was gonna have to pass on it. I've tried finding good in this game, and the only way I can is the concept. The emphasis was on exploration, but predominantly it seems survival is the main focus. So many things you have to keep active and recharge just to survive. And because of that, it takes away from the fun factor in exploration. I really felt like a broke college student worrying if my ship was going to have enough fuel to take off when I decided to leave a planet, or if I was going to need to farm more materials. The elements of survival negatively impacted my view on the exploration aspect. The best way I could describe the feeling is that it feels like a play-to-play game. You're forced to play the game and mine materials and do exactly how the game wants you to, or else you're out of luck and won't be able to advance at all. For this game to be an open world game, essentially, and that's essentially what it is, you really feel confined and limited to how you play. What makes all of this worse is that this game is $60. It's made by an indie studio, and while yes, I see how big your game is, YourHeroJames, but you may have made it too big so that the planets all feel the same and you'd have to play for hours and hours on end just to experience something different. Or maybe I was just on the bad side of luck. This game isn't for the majority of people. The fact that Sean Murray said it had hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay and I barely made it to 2 makes me question just what they were doing when they made this. If you enjoy this game, good for you. It has fun aspects to it, but the repetition for many will set in early, if not on the very first mission. The non-vibrant, non-intelligent creatures just feel tacked on, while even in some instances pointless. For all intents and purposes, everything in this game just falls flat. I'm gonna have to give this game a 4 out of 10.